Hello, my name is Lee, the wannabe net idol, and today I have breaking news YouTube. Breaking news YouTube. No, I don't. That was just something that I heard at my old job at a store called, let's call her Margaret, a store called Margaret. This woman came into the store with, like she had been like huffing paint, and she had like bright purple metallic paint all over her face, which you'd think if you were to go out in public, you would have more of like a conspicuous, you would choose to huff a more conspicuous or inconspicuous, I mean, paint color. But I don't know. Do different paint colors do different things when you huff them? Paint huffers, tell me down below what your favorite color to huff is. Anyway, I'm gonna start out today. Someone bought me this from my wish list, and I am genuinely so ecstatic. Like, I just can't afford anything for myself. So it means a lot, especially because it's kind of, I guess, I don't know, like I said, I'm not starving, so, it's not necessary to get anything for me off of my wish list. It means a lot. So I got this Twilight Sparkle plush with the big head. This is definitely going right up by my pillow. I love her. Thank you. And I love you too. So today I wanted to, somebody asked, and I wanted to talk about working as me and how it was to work. So I've had a couple of jobs in the past. I was a volunteer camp counselor for my first job ever. And then I worked at a store called Margaret. And then I worked at a beauty supply store. Or no. I worked at a beauty supply store. And then I worked at a Macy's. That one's closed now. And I also don't have anything bad to say about that job. And then I worked at a beauty supply store. So I have notes because I have kind of a bad memory. And so you're just gonna have to deal with me looking at my notes, and I'm sorry about that. Oh yeah, that's another thing, is I made this shirt by myself out of just like a oversized men's like black shirt, and then I like cut it and I did this. I made the cuffs, and this is from like Wish or maybe Goodwill for like a long time ago, I believe. So that's my outfit. Yeah. So interactions, people occasionally ask me if I needed help. Like if I think sometimes it was like, oh, you can't, are you okay? Like, can you lift that? Because I would be lifting like pallets. Well, not like the Hulk. You know what I mean? It would be like occasionally, especially like sometimes like guys would come up and be like, are you okay to like lift that? And I'd be like, well, no, but I'm not allowed to accept help from customers. And then also sometimes I've had like specifically like one like the concerned lady who asked me if I was okay in a way where it seems like she's like, are you like being trafficked like actively? Because I'm so nervous. At the job. Always I shake whenever I go to work, because of the way that I feel trapped when I have to go to work, because you can't just leave the building whenever you like. That's like a big deal for me, because if something happens where like if somebody comes in and I get like harassed, or if my mom comes in, which happened to me a couple of times when I had gone to work, there's just no way of leaving, and I can't, it's hard to defend yourself in a customer service setting, especially for somebody like me who I'm very like all or nothing when it comes to, I guess, just everything, including my attitude. So when I am very tolerant up to a point, so if somebody's having a bad day and I can clearly tell, or like they're very clearly some sort of like, if they're like a drug addict or something, I'm probably, if they're just stealing baby formula, I'm going to be tolerant of that person, and I'm not gonna, but it's really hard not to blow up at somebody who very clearly is, I guess, like wealthy, doesn't have any reason to be rude to a customer service worker in public, somebody who's just being extremely inappropriate. It makes me really like sad about the world, and it makes me just kind of like feel like nothing is worth it, and it makes me feel like humanity isn't worth it. And I feel like whenever I encounter people like that, it always makes me, I guess I remember it really like, it gets me down in my soul. Like it really pierces me. um, like a Claire's ear gun, and then I get an infection about it, and it festers because I don't know, like I don't. Somebody told me in the comments. Somebody was like, "Oh, you're very honest, but I'm a bit worried because you seem very mentally ill." And I'm very resilient, especially when it comes to like the internet. Like I said, I grew up on 4chan. I I'll make a video introducing him a different day. Not introducing him because he's not around. He's long gone. But there was a guy. I grew up with this guy. I call him Shinji, and he influenced my everything. And he was very how do I say, red pilled, black pilled, and those he was taking pills and not the right ones. Um, anyway, so I'm not like that sensitive. It's just so it doesn't necessarily that it offends me. It's that it makes me I just I hate it makes me hate humans, and it makes me want to destroy everything. Um, Somebody one time asked me for gluten-free eyeliner, and uh-huh. So I worked in the beauty department of Margaret, and then I worked at a beauty supply store. So that's one thing is like I tend to get hired at those places, but I don't actually like know that much or have that much interest. Like I like to do or like I like J fashion kind of stuff, but when it comes to like somebody coming in and asking me how to do a balayage, I'm gonna be like, what are you talking? I don't know how to do that. And I only know that word because I worked at those stores. So I guess I was just really like, I had to bullshit my way through a lot of the customer interactions, which is extremely hard for me as somebody with autism because I just have a hard time making things up like that on the fly, especially about like products that I know nothing about. One time when I was working in the beauty department of Margaret, a man came up and he asked me what the wattage was on an Instant Pot, and I was like, "My apron says beauty. Do you think this is an adjective?" Like, well, I didn't say that to him. All I did was I pulled out the little like device that we had to like look around, and I looked it up on there. Because I didn't have phone service. I didn't have phone service for years. Part of this YouTube channel is that I actually finally got a phone since moving into this house or this apartment, like this living situation. I was reliant off of like free Wi-Fi and all those kinds of things. I didn't have a phone number. It was really hard for me to like sign up for things. I would have to use like friends' phone numbers. I also didn't have an address, so hence the title. I wasn't completely homeless. I was like staying with people, but I didn't have an address. I wasn't on any lease anywhere. I was like I was couch surfing, I guess you could say, and I uh, lived in an apartment where I wasn't on the lease with like a bunch of other people for a while, and a lot of them, a couple of them were also homeless. Like two of them were gonna sleep in their car, and we were like, no, like we have this like apartment where it was really like run down and kind of like shady, so they weren't really like checking on like the lease or whatever. I think there were a lot of people who were like undocumented, who were being housed there and stuff like that. So I think it was kind of just like they didn't really they didn't really care much. It's been renovated since then, and I think that they probably would care now, but it used to be really run down. And I remember at one point the washing machine broke, so we had to there was no I can't drive. I don't drive and I don't have a car, and I had to wash my clothes in the bathtub and then like dry them. I had to hang them up to dry. So I probably smelled super musty coming into work every day. And I make some of my own clothes now. Because I don't have to wear work uniforms. That I actually like did this. I think this was a old work uniform shirt, and then this is just some ribbon probably from some packaging or something, and I doctored it. Anyway, another thing is like I'm really unrelatable to like people in general because of all of my. I mean, not everybody. I mean, some people are gonna relate. I did have one coworker who she ended up quitting after a couple of days, but she had a lot of like chronic medical issues and PTSD, and we had gotten along pretty well. She was quite a bit older than me, and I wished I had invited her out for like coffee or something because I'm generally afraid of the authoritarian mother figure, but she was not. She was more of a demure type, if that makes sense. And I guess I wished that I had kind of pursued like a friendship with her. But I tend to like shock my coworkers because they'll be like, oh, do you know, somebody will ask me for my phone number. I'll say that I don't have a phone number, and then I have to explain, and I have a hard time lying. So sometimes in the moment, I will just not lie, and I will kind of spill upon them my entire life story, and they will just look at me as if I hit them with a bus. Um, so I was really efficient especially when I worked at Margaret. And so I don't know if this is like true or if this is just in my head, but I swear that they fired my coworkers because I was too fast. And I know that that sounds like a load of barnacles, but I kept getting like compliments about how fast I was. And here's like the thing about this: it was like I was only really good at stalking things, not stalking thing. Not I'm not good at stalking people. People are good at stalking me, but I'm not good at stocking things. All right, people, crap. I'm good at stocking items on grocery store shelves very quickly because I used to be very, very, very good at rhythm games. So good, in fact, that I had a very high score at round one arcade, and my name was up on all the one of the best in the state. Not to brag, not to brag. But yeah, hallucinating on the job. I think I said this before, but I would hallucinate Yumi Nikki sound effects throughout the aisles. Um, One thing on the walkie-talkie, I would hear a lot of like children babbling, and I would think I would also like hear any conversation over the walkie-talkie. I would be like, was that for me? And so it was kind of really nerve-wracking. It was kind of really nerve-wracking to be on the walkie-talkie because it was like constantly on edge. Like I'm already one of those people that, like this like those little dummies that are afraid of phone calls. So when I had the walkie-talkie, you know, like every time it buzzed, it was like Satan's rape whistle in my ear, you know, like I was terrified. Um, you know, I think I'm gonna end this video here because it's getting kind of long, but I'm probably gonna make a part two. Um, Thank you so much for watching me. Again, my Amazon wish list is in the description if you want to support me. But no pressure. I love you guys. Bye.